Hey everyone, I'm Cassius and welcome back to the Shakespeare Minute. And now in my probably final look at the Henriade before Sharky and I review it on Pursued by a Bear, I have my look at the trailer for The Hollow Crown and what it says about the Henriade as a whole. So, if you haven't seen the trailer, I've got it up here in the post for a reason. See it now. It is 60 seconds long, and you simply must watch it. Yes, I realize that the material I treat is now more aptly named the Shakespeare Minute than my own stuff. Credit, by the way, to the geeky blonde for pointing that out. So pause me, if you haven't seen it yet, watch the link, and then come back, because that is what I'm going to be discussing. Oh, keep in mind that, and I can't believe I feel the need to say this for plays that are 400 years old, there will be spoilers here. If for some inexplicable reason you are blissfully unaware of the plot of the Henriade and are waiting for the Hollow Crown to enlighten you, you may stop now. Everyone else, I will see you back here in 60 seconds. Whew, okay, alright. Pull it together, Fetterman, pull it together, Fetterman. Okay, you can do this. The trailer covers the entire Hollow Crown series, which again will include Richard II, Henry IV Part 1, Henry IV Part 2, and Henry V. These are the four plays that are the histories that go in sequence and are generally considered to be the coherent unit. Now, the plot of Henry V does go pretty much directly into the Henry VI plays, but the Henry VI plays are traditionally grouped with Richard III in their own tetralogy, since they were written way before the plays in this Henriade, and they have a wildly different tone. Basically, think Tarantino. So, these four plays, Richard II, the two Henry IVs, and Henry V, are considered their own unit, and that is what the Hollow Crown is. Roughly, the plot covers Richard II being overthrown, Henry IV putting down a few rebellions, and Henry V deciding to take all this violence out of England with a successful venture into France during the 100 Years' War. Also, there's some stuff about Prince Hal hanging out with an old dude named Falstaff in a bar before he becomes King Henry V, but that's not important here because let's take a look at the trailer and its apparent take. Keep in mind, of course, that there might be more publicity that emphasizes other things, but this one here has a very, very distinct take on these four plays that I happen to think is really interesting. Firstly, the choice of narration is revelatory. They picked the gorgeous Death of King speech from Richard II, a piece which tells us that we are not here to have fun. We are here to talk about death. Ultimately, a king can rule, but that rule is always in doubt, and it's damn sure gonna end. And it is consistent as a theme in the Henriade that a rule will always end. Not a single one of the kings here has both a successful rule and a well-executed succession. Richard has neither. Henry IV doesn't have a successful rule, and Henry V doesn't have a well-executed succession. To this point, Falstaff and the comic relief are pretty much in the background here. They're barely in the trailer, plunging us into an epically dark grandeur. The only romantic moment in the trailer appears to be Richard II's tearful parting with his wife, hardly a bubbly rom-com moment, and the highest profile death is not, for instance, Richard II's, which propels the plot forward through into the Henry IV plays and even into Henry V, but rather Henry V's death, shown at the 20-second mark and actually lasting for quite a few seconds. The most mourned king's death in all of Shakespeare. Henry V's death is this highly nihilistic moment that doesn't actually take place during the play of Henry V. It's only glanced at in the epilogue, but the death itself takes place in the nebulous space between tetralogies, between Henry V and Henry VI Part 1, and it kicks off the viciously violent Henry VI plays. When Henry V dies, everything that the entire first Henriade has built falls apart pretty much instantly. Highlighting this for so much of the trailer is at the very least interesting. Personally, I'm a little confused as to how they're gonna do it, since Henry V has the only non-thematic death in all of the histories. Every single one of the other kings either dies violently due to upheaval, that's King John, Richard II, Henry VI, Edward V, and Richard III, or gets slowly crushed to death by the pressure of kingship, Henry IV and Edward IV. Henry V is dismissed by God? So I'm interested to see how this will happen on screen, but I am all ears and absolutely psyched for it. Oh, and if you're wondering how we know that that far away dead guy at the 22nd mark is in fact Henry V, Sharky over at Pursued by a Bear got Twitter confirmation from Tom Hiddleston himself, so yeah, that's him. The aesthetics here, except for every Richard II wardrobe choice, are just incredible. There is a rich, beautiful palette and sweeping scenery. The bit where Richard is coming out of the ocean with the man walking on the beach hits an incredible high note of epicness, and the battle scenes look appropriately gritty and dirty, but also absolutely grand. The architecture is sumptuous, that spinning coin is amazingly ominous, and yes, that moment with Henry V closing his eyes before that battle builds a great tension. Although I suspect it's probably taken somewhat out of context for trailer building purposes. Not that I begrudge them that, of course, but it is a beautiful moment, particularly here in the trailer. Also, seriously, those cheekbones might be the most dangerous weapons England has. You could probably hurt someone with those. But not Jeremy Irons. The only real issue for me here, besides Richard's Jesus-y wardrobe, yeah, I know the man compares himself to Jesus a lot, but he wouldn't want to borrow the man's clothes, is the 4 of Shakespeare's most acclaimed histories moniker. Really? The man only wrote 10, if you don't include Edward III, and these 4 are the by far most mature. They're the 4 best, excepting maybe Henry IV Part 2, which doesn't really rival Richard III, but the way they put it seemed unnecessarily hedgy. These plays are absolutely incredible, and saying that 4 plays out of 10 are among the most acclaimed seems like a kind of weak assertion. So that's that, the trailer for The Hollow Crown. Till next time here on the Shakespeare Minute, I'm Cassius. Think of the world.
Up and put them down again and watch the miles roll on by.
Oh, by the way, that was my thought-out, kind of intellectual response to the trailer. My emotional, in-the-moment response was something more like a cross between this and this. Ah, this potent promotion quite o'ercrows my spirit.